I'm Chris.
I'm Sandy.
And this is Parenting Autism.
Here we go.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Parenting Autism Podcast, episode number 102. If you'd like to find us on the web, we're at parentingautismshow.com, or you can email us at parentingautism@att.net. Those are two ways you can get a hold of us. And here we are today, episode 102.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. You're always laughing at me.
Well, I just wait to see what you're going to say when
You
you
never
start
know.
the episode.
You never know.
Yep.
You never know.
Anyway, it's been a couple weeks since we've been on here because we went away to the condo to visit the Coulter family, which was great.
Yep.
I did post a few things on Facebook and Instagram just to show a few things that we've done lately, trying to stay in touch with the peoples. But we're getting ready to turn around and go on our big trip now.
Mm-hmm.
So this one wasn't really a vacation for me because I worked and commuted. But Bryce had a nice vacation from therapies.
And school.
And he had a nice vacation from school.
Mm-hmm.
And you had a nice vacation from school.
Yeah.
So it's been good. And you guys got back on
And
track
work.
this week. Yeah, because you only went in like one day each week.
Yeah.
So it was good. You guys had a good refresher. This one, we're going to be going away. But let's talk a little bit about, I guess, like the past couple of weeks. Headlines would be not just the time away at the condo, but this past week, you have taken Bryce an hour north of us up to the Melbourne area to see a psychologist for his Neuro-Psych testing. Mm-hmm. So I want to talk about that to the extent that you can, because I understand you didn't go in. And then we'll talk about, I've just been making these notes about things that Bryce is saying, because you're like,
they are funny.
You got to put that down.
I mean, he is just becoming really funny.
He is funny. And I think sometimes he intends to be funny, and then other times he doesn't intend to be funny, but it strikes us funny. So we're not laughing at him. So I want to really make that clear.
Right.
We're not. He's just enjoyable.
Yes.
I mean, it's the way things are said. It would be like if you like certain comedians and it's the way they say things and the way that they phrase things that can make you laugh. Mm-hmm. That's how I feel with Bryce. Like, he would be my favorite stand-up right now. It's because it's his delivery, and his delivery is really funny.
Unexpected,
Because we really don't know what all's going on in his mind. And it's the timing, because he'll be asking us about things and I'm like, really? You're thinking about that now?
That's another thing. He's asking us a lot more questions.
A lot.
Like, a lot. I'm so glad I have Alexa and Google to back me up.
Right? What did parents do before you could refer? Go get a
Well,
dictionary?
they'd ask their parents, but my parents aren't here. But
I know.
But yeah, I mean, there's some things that I don't have the answer to.
And if I asked my parents, they wouldn't have the answer either to this boy's question. So
he does have a lot of questions.
He does. And we were talking about how well he's doing in so many regards. Mm-hmm. And he's talking more, but it's not that he's just talking more, because our goal has been, like working with these different supplements and things, is that we would have more language. But it's not that we just have more language. We have more vocabulary, like different words, new sentences, and new inquiries and deeper inquiries. That's the difference.
And now when we say a word that he doesn't know, he'll say, what does that mean?
Yep.
So, like, he's very inquisitive and wants to know. And some, they're common words to us, but
True.
He just hasn't learned them yet.
Right. So he's getting opportunities to, and then he definitely learns from whatever he's watching and listening to. Mm-hmm. So he is very interested in a few of these ads that come on his iPad.
Commercials on YouTube.
Right?
Oh, my goodness.
So
Dawn Easy Squeeze.
Dawn Easy Squeeze has been a big one for him for a while.
And when he saw it in the store, it was like a celebrity sighting.
It was hilarious. So we're working on life skills now. And so this week, I've taken him out a couple of times to do some grocery shopping. And then I needed to get cleaning supplies for the office. So we went to Sam's Club. So we start out with the toilet paper and the paper towels. And I have to say, I let him get them. And they're heavy because it's multiple rolls of each. And he wanted to reach high and then take two. It took a lot of strength for him to get it from the crate over into the cart. And then again from the cart onto the checkout machine. So that was funny. So we got the paper towels. We did the toilet paper. And Miss Page has been going with us, who's his ABA tech. And so she missed all of that part because she had to go somewhere else in the store. So we met up later, and then we went to the cleaning supplies. So on one aisle was pretty much all the things I needed. So it's like what you mentioned. When I went to the next aisle, I was not looking for dish liquid soap because that wasn't on my list. But when he saw Dawn there in the huge size that it is at Sam's Club, he literally stopped in his tracks and he went, Dawn, because he had never seen it in live person. And he's like, Mommy, I think we need this. I'm like, I really don't, buddy. We don't need that much and it's not on my list. And I said, but it's not Dawn Easy Squeeze. He's like, yes, but it's blue. It's my favorite.
It wasn't the Easy Squeeze?
It was not the Easy Squeeze.
I
they
thought
had
it was.
4 brands. Easy Squeeze is his favorite.
Right.
But there had 4 different types. So I was saying, well, they have this one, this one, this one, this one. And he still just loved it. So that was really funny. And then he says, Mommy, I think you need a mixer. I'm like, do I? And he's like, you do. I'm going to save up my money and get one for you. I said, why do I need a mixer? Because you need one and I would love to get it for you because I love you. I said, yeah, what is it about that? We have one. Well, you need a new one. I said, do I? Yes. What is it about that mixer that you like? The noise? I like the noise, but I like the color. Oh, well, what color is it? It's this light blue. I said, oh, okay. That is his new light favorite color. So I said, well, how much is it? He's like, it's like $200, but I can do paintings and I can get you a mixer. I said, well, I appreciate the thought, but we'll use our white one that we have for now. So
the other one he likes
so
is,
cute.
I don't even know what the product is. But it's 2 paws up.
It's the fabric Febreze.
Febreze.
Febreze fabric.
Yeah.
And it's for a dog spraying the furniture. But he knows the whole thing. So all of a sudden he'll randomly start to recite the whole commercial. And then he'll be like, fabric Febreze, 2 paws up.
And he laughs because he knows it's funny.
He knows it's funny. And then he'll want us to watch it. But it's when he comes up with that, like we're just laying there in the dark. And then all of a sudden here comes the commercial out,
Yeah.
So
funny.
It has been funny. And so before I go into more funny stuff about him, let's talk about the Neuro-Psych visits this week.
Yeah. So we had 2, and they were each like testing. Like, I think right now he's testing IQ, like where he's at grade level. So math, language arts, and writing. They've been doing.
He said that. He said he had to do spelling and memorization.
Yeah. So, again, I didn't realize that I was going to feel that way. But, when he got up to go do his testing and the doctor was like, oh, Dad, you can wait here,
Yeah.
And like, I'm his protector. I wasn't
I know
allowed in there.
You sent me a note.
I sent you a text. I'm like, I still feel that way about him. Like, I don't know. We just met the guy,
right.
And you trust people, and he went into the room and I was not in there, and it just felt,
I understand,
so anyway, he went in there. When he came out, he was all happy. He's like, Daddy, we did this and that. And I was like, oh, okay. He says, but I really worked hard.
He did.
He says, I was in there for 2 hours, Daddy. I said, yeah, I know. And I said, you did a good job. And so he's like, can I get a special treat because I work so hard? I said, yeah, we go to Chick-fil-A for lunch. And so he was very happy about that. But basically, I'm just taking him there. And originally it was supposed to be 3 sessions of 2 hours each. The psychologist said that normally typical kids do this all in one go. 6 hours worth of stuff in one appointment, he says. But with kids like Bryce that have special needs, he just finds that their attention span, they just need a little more time to get through. And,
for sure.
And we all know that testing for kids on the spectrum is difficult. They do need more time to answer questions.
Yeah.
So originally it was supposed to be 3 sessions of 2 hours, and he says, I think we're going to have to go to 4 sessions of 2 hours for Bryce, because I guess he's takes
longer to process information.
And I told him his yes isn't always his yes, and his no isn't always his no. You know, It's just so. I'm not in there, so I can't help guide, you know, and I feel helpless that way.
Well, it's like you said, protector, control, all those things, you know. But he's going to have to be tested. And I believe my understanding from all of this is to help us identify his strengths.
Yeah.
And then help us identify his weaknesses.
You know, I think about, sorry, I'm cutting you off, but I think about school specifically. And, you know, when he's doing his review questions, the question isn't always posed in a simple way.
Right.
And I don't really know how to describe that. But so he'll say, Daddy, I need help with this review question. And it's the way they word it, it's just really complicated to read. And I'll rephrase it in a simple sentence. Well, you know, Johnny doesn't like to go outside during the day. Why doesn't Johnny want to go outside? You know, and so, and they might insert all these other kind of words that aren't relevant to the question. And I just do it in a simple way for him.
They probably do that. I'm just thinking out loud, is they're trying to expand his exposure to language and more words.
Yeah. Because
Bryce definitely is still in that first circle of essential words, I guess you could say, right? And he's learning, and that's what's been coming out more, is he's going into deeper layers of language. Yeah. Which is good. Yeah. But he still has a lot of comprehension, you know. So they're going to identify his strengths, his weaknesses. It will help us know what's the best curriculum for him as we go into 4th grade, and what kind of supports he might need. I feel like it's going to be very beneficial. It's definitely the right timing to do this for him. And I have to say, so when we knew he was going to be doing this, I had mentioned to you, like, let's not use the word test, because it's almost like a word he may be resistant to, right? Yeah. We just said he's going to ask you a lot of questions. You're going to go talk to the doctor. Remember we met him and he asked you some questions? Well, he's going to be asking you a lot of questions this time. So when I saw him on Monday and I picked him up from therapy, because I hadn't seen you to really have any idea of how it went down, other than when you told me that I knew he went in with the doctor alone. So I said, so how was it today at the doctor's? Did he ask you a lot? He goes, it was a test, Mommy. It was? I was like, really? He's like, yes, it was 2 hours of tests and a lot of questions, and I worked really hard. Yeah. I'm too tired, Mommy. I don't think I can do anything else. I have worked 4 hours today.
Yes, with therapy.
Right, because he had 2 hours of therapy. So I said, really? He goes, I think I need to rest when I get home. I said, well, Miss Page is going to be there. I don't know what we're doing tonight. And he goes, I need to rest. I said, okay, so you're really tired from your 4 hours of work? Yes. I said, okay, so we won't get your iPad. We won't do any games. You just go right to bed and you rest. You deserve it. Well, I might not be too tired to play my game, but I do need to take a break. I said, yeah, okay.
Called his bluff.
I did. So I said, well, the good news is I don't think you're doing any table work with Miss Page today, because we're going to go shopping, and we're going to go to Aldi's, and we're going to do some grocery shopping. Okay. And I said, is that okay with you? Yes. All right. I said, and then I heard that they may have your gluten-free donuts as an Aldi find right now, but I don't know for sure if they're in this store. But we will look for them. So if you do a really good job of finding all the other foods, that's where we'll go last. So he was all in. And what I'm doing with him is having him read the signs so that he understands the importance of being able to read to identify where to locate things. So we did that. And he, I'm not expecting him to do everything independently now. We're just kind of getting him warm and in the section. If he passes by, well, read this one again, read that one. He struggles with some words. Most of the words he was able to read and identify them, which was great. And then and then I was teaching him too that if you read the word on the counter where they have it, the shelf, then normally that food is above it. So just teaching him those little things to kind of help him learn how to locate, things in the grocery store. So we get through everything. We found everything that we went for. And then we went and we did find the donuts. So I said, I had already picked him up 4 boxes of the chocolate ones because it is an Aldi find and it's here today, gone tomorrow. And so we had enough room in the freezer to put those 4 in there. And again, we use those as special treats. So it's not like he has donuts every day. And I said, do you want to get more chocolate or do you want to get glazed? Because he also likes glazed donuts. So he's like, I think we need to get glazed. I said, okay, well, we got room for 2 more boxes. So you want to get 2 boxes of glazed? Yes. Okay. So he got those. So then we're driving home and first we get in line and I said, I'm really proud of you, Bryce, for how well I said, I'm really proud of you, Bryce. You did a great job. He goes, oh, not complaining? And the lady in front of me turned around and she just started laughing. I said, well, I am proud that you didn't complain, but I'm also proud that you did a great job finding all of this stuff. And I was also teaching him the importance of knowing your place in line, how to identify where the end of the line is so you're not cutting in front of people, understanding that you have to pay attention to keep moving in line so that people behind you can continue to move. These are like important things that honestly he's not going to pick up on right now unless they're really taught to him. So we went through that. So we get in the car and Bryce is a bit of a math wizard. And so he says, so Mommy, how much are my points to get a chocolate donut? Because he uses his points that he
to get a
receives,
treat.
right? Yeah. So I said, I believe that it's 4 points, isn't it? Because he knows. And he's like, yes. Okay, so the glazed donuts, I only have 2 boxes of glazed donuts. I have 4 boxes of chocolate donuts. The glazed donuts are more rare. I think they should be worth more points. They should be worth 8 points. Yep, that's good math. I said, you, my son, understand the power of supply and demand.
Well, you know what? That is
really good.
That's a recent subject that we're doing in social studies is Johnny has a lemonade stand and he also sells pretzels, but he didn't make enough pretzels and there's a lot of people in line that want the pretzels. What happens to the price? Does it go up or go down or stay the same? So he
Supply
said it
and
goes
demand.
up, and so that's probably where he got.
There you go.
Yeah.
He got it, and he applied it, and so on his whatever we have on the refrigerator, his points there.
Yeah,
he's got 8 for glazed, 4 for chocolate. So that was really great.
And he told me too. You know, the glazed are more rare.
Yeah. That's it. So he knows that. So that was really good. I took him, like I said, to Aldi on Monday. He was excited to go again on Tuesday, but we didn't do the groceries. We just didn't have enough time after Taco Tuesday. But we took him to Dollar Tree. He was trying to find a fidget because he understands that he needs to do something with his hands to help him concentrate. I'm wondering, he was shopping for that on Tuesday. I wonder if the doctor had something for him to help him concentrate. And I didn't think of that until just now when we were talking. But I think I'm going to ask him about that because I'm like, where did that come from that he wanted a spiky ball?
Well, he's wanted one for a little while. I mean, we've been shopping for it. Like I said, we were in the dollar store before.
Yeah, I know we've looked
for
before.
it, so.
I am curious. if he did give him anything to help him focus. So I'm going to ask him that when we get done. But anyway, having said that, and then Thursday, we took him to Walmart for that. So it's really good. I'm enjoying this. Our ABA is definitely developing to be more outside of the home.
Life skills.
Than inside of the home. It's hard for me right now to coordinate social dates with him. But
other kids are in
when
school.
the summer comes, we'll be able to do that more. But I do think just interactions. So I was telling you when we went to Sam's Club, we went through the line with a cashier instead of self-scanning, which is what we will normally do. But we went through, and the girl, I'm going to say that she's like 16, 17, probably working the cashier, the register. So then Bryce asked her something. He was trying to have a conversation with her, and it's very awkward for him. But he was fidgety, like he didn't know what to do. He was nervous, but he wanted to talk to her. She was wearing braces. I honestly thought he was going to ask her something about her braces, but he didn't. And he was asking her, he was talking about something that was, he was telling her how he lifted the paper towels. So he wanted to tell her that. And then he says to her, he was trying to say to her, what did you call me? And then she looked at him. She's like looking at me like, what did he say? I said, I think he's asking what you called him, but I didn't think you called him anything. And then he's like, did you call me a kid? And she's like, no. And I could tell she was like, she didn't know what to do. And I said, well, she'll call you Bryce if you tell her what your name is. And so he goes, oh, my name is Bryce. So then she's like, oh, okay. Well, thank you, Bryce. Have a good day. And he was like, oh, okay. And then he jumped up and down and then went and checked out. So I was making these mental notes, like he just needs that opportunity to encounter with strangers that he doesn't know, but learning how to have an exchange of conversation, because he can do it with us. Again, he can do it with Miss Page very comfortably. I mean, I listen to him have conversations with her. He'll ask her how her day was. He does all these things that they've practiced together, but we have to learn how to take it outside of here into the real world. So those are the things we're working on, and that's pretty cool. Some fun things that we did during the couple weeks that we were out at the condo, we took him blueberry picking, and that was a fun thing for us. I think the adults enjoyed it more than Bryce.
Yeah.
But Bryce saw this little tractor that's probably made for kids who are 4 or 5 years old. And Bryce is quite tall for his age. And he was determined to ride it. And they had 3 of them. And he'd get on one and his knees are like up to his chin. But he'd try and he'd try. I saw he really wanted to do it. So finally, I took one and I took it over to the Grove where Auntie Sue and Uncle Craig were. And I said, go ahead and ride it, buddy. And so he's just like working his way down the aisle. And it was good. He just needed to have that experience. Something to do. It caught his eye. And then I think he said to me, I think I might be too big for this. And I said, I think you might be, but that's okay. You had fun with it. And he could recognize that. But while we were there also, there was a little boy, and he was probably 4 or 5, I would guess. And he was hiding inside of this playground apparatus. And I don't remember what it was, but I just remember you couldn't see him unless you looked in. So Bryce looked in and saw him. And Bryce went immediately to compassion and concern for him. So he's like, oh no, it's not safe in there. And so he's telling this boy, oh no, you're not safe in there. Come here. I will help you out.
Oh no.
And the little boy's looking at him like, dude, I'm good and I'm hiding. And then the sister came over because Bryce revealed his hiding spot. And then she's like, okay, we need to go now. And Bryce is like, oh, be careful, be careful. And the boy's trying to get out. And then Bryce is like walking along the outside to help him. And then the boy really didn't know what to do, and he walks to the back, and then Bryce was like, okay, you're out and you're safe. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that you would be okay. And then the kids ran off. And it's like kids don't know how to react to that, where I'm just like melting like, oh, he's such a caring kid, I don't want to critique him on anything on that, because honestly, I want him to maintain that concern, and he didn't do anything wrong. It's just that sometimes people aren't going to understand him, and he's probably going to be more drawn to adults in a lot of ways because adults understand that more, but it was really sweet. I mean, it really, really was. And I know you missed that because you were down picking your berries, but yeah, that was just another thing. But he was around the kids. it's just that interacting thing. But he did okay. The other kids were playing inside of this large, it was like an open circular apparatus. I don't know what to call it. But anyway, they were in there and doing different things. And honestly, I watched these kids playing and they could get hurt, So like you talk about being protective. It's like I want Bryce to get involved with kids, but I also don't want him to get hurt, like physically hurt, because we know the drama that will come with that. But he knows that he doesn't want to get hurt, so he just kind of stays back and watches and observes and jumps. And, it's good for him to get outside. It's good for him to have this exposure. When I don't know the kids, it's more difficult for me as his mom to just teach him how to engage with them. But if I know the kids, it's a lot easier for me. So it's, it's stuff that we'll have to work on too, because he is still a kid and I want him to be a kid. If he sees a playground, he gets excited. I want him to be able to go and play with the kids. You know what I mean? So
I think the whole reason I wanted to go to that U-Pick farm was I wanted to put together, food that we buy from the store to where it really comes from, and I had never been to a U-Pick farm, and I know you grew up picking vegetables, at home.
We had a garden, so we got our veggies out of the garden, and I had a lot of fruit trees around the neighborhood.
Bryce doesn't have that here in Florida, so we drove a little over an hour to get to the U-Pick farm, and the blueberry bushes, they must have been 6 or 7 feet tall and just rows and rows and rows and rows and millions of blueberries. Yeah. And so I'm happy that we were able to do that. And, he could say that he did that and knows.
That's a good point. And when I take him to the grocery store the next time when we pick out blueberries, I'll put that reminder to him, like, remember when we went and we picked those out?
Yeah.
So, it is really good. So I'm trying to think what else we did. So he did pretty good in the pool. Swimming. Well, okay, let's not say that. He did pretty good in the pool playing. Yeah. But he's still very apprehensive. That's it. About putting his face in the water completely, submerging his face to swim.
So we're going to be working on that this summer.
That's going to be the goal. Yeah. I think because of the development that he's had, I know we've given him swim lessons a couple of times.
I feel safe saying that if he fell in, he could get back to the edge. Yeah. But it's a dangerous environment still for him if he's not being supervised. So I'll feel more comfortable when he can just be like a fish like the other kids, if it's possible. Right. I'll feel more comfortable about that because it is the number one reason.
For drowning is a big
the number one cause
of death for autistic kids. He didn't wear his life jacket this time. We didn't think about it. Does it still fit him?
I don't know. We'll have to check it. Yeah.
I didn't see it until after we came back.
Yeah.
So but he didn't have his life jacket. He hasn't worn floaties in a long time. He likes the mask and snorkel, which, you know what? I did too, because I never liked getting the water up my nose and it burned and the chlorine and all of that. It's like a safety for me, and you can play more, and he likes that.
I mean, I'm not a big underwater person either. I wear goggles, but Brittany was saying, the kids, they go under the water, they open their eyes, and they swim through a hula hoop, and I'm like,
I don't even know how they open their eyes.
How do they do that? It burns so bad.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Maybe some people, maybe it's the tolerance, the pains.
Maybe.
The excitement of doing it is more tolerable than the pain you feel. I don't know.
I don't know how that works.
For me personally, not a fan of opening my eyes. And Bryce laughs all the time because he's always having so much fun. So every time he goes under, even accidentally, he gets water in his mouth because he's so happy. Yeah. So we're like, you got to keep your mouth closed. And then
making all kinds of weird sounds. Yeah.
But he had so much fun.
He did have
fun. I
did
notice that because he's taller now, he feels comfortable going along the entire edge of the pool, even down to the 5 feet, which would be over his head, and the 6 feet if he's holding on to the edge. And that's the part that makes me nervous because, he could reach out for something and then you just lose your balance and now you're in over your head. And like you said, would he be able to swim back to the edge? Don't really want to test the theory right now.
If he's going to chase a ball or something, then he could wind up in the deep end and not even realize it.
That's it. So we're trying to show him the numbers on the side. and this is like with all kids if they're not strong in swimming. Listen, we moved here to Florida from Indiana. We were not strong swimmers. So we had to learn that. But we wanted to be in the pool. It's fun. It's exciting. And you have to remember, okay, you can't go past that 4 or you can't go past, that 5. So I think that will be a fun thing to work on this summer with him. But I'm glad he had a good time. We had him outdoor a lot.
We went to the airport, the local small airport, and watched the planes while we're eating lunch.
Yeah, you
and
guys
he thoroughly enjoyed that. We went several times.
Yeah, I think you ended up going 2 or 3 times.
That's because he's much more engaged now.
Yeah.
And we got this app. I want to say it's called Flight Aware 24 or Flight Tracker 24. It has 24 on the end. So you can see all the aircraft like that are flying over your house or wherever you are. So we had that at the airport, and then I found a website, which I can't remember the name of it, but you can hear the air traffic control tower. So when we were at the airport, we had all that set up, and we could tell when planes were coming in
really
for the
cool.
landing and what type of plane they were. It gives you a little picture of what the plane is. So
that's what he's showing me. So what I'm seeing on the side is what he's seeing as a dot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And so it tells you the altitude, it tells you their speed, so you know if they're coming down or if they're taking off. So he's just got renewed his love for airplanes, and he's flying the flight simulator all the time now.
It's at a high time.
It is. It's
all-time
so that was
high
special
level for sure.
We did run into a couple of things with his hearing sensitivity, I guess. We went over hyperacusis last time on the show, I believe.
We did, yeah.
And so now we know that it's not hyperacusis, it's just Bryce's reaction to certain sounds that we have to help him with. And so I'm really hoping this psychologist can help him and help us help him with these sounds, because we ran into a couple of situations where we didn't have the headphones. One was at the airport, and he wanted to go outside and listen to the airplanes, but it was too loud, so he came back in. But the one that stands out to me is
the dinner.
When we went, where it was the dinner for vacation. It was going to be the fancy dinner, and
on the
everybody
ocean.
Was going to enjoy ourselves, and I think I even mentioned, should we take him over to your mom's? And we're like, no, he's done okay there in the past, so it shouldn't be a problem. So it was Wednesday night, you know, not a
middle of the week.
Middle of the week. We thought it might not be too crowded, so for whatever reason, those few days in the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we had tornado watches going on, and we're actually under a tornado warning or something, but it was passing. We could see the radar. Here in Florida, it doesn't stay overcast for days like it does up north. So if you have a storm, it's just going to kind of blow by or blow through. So we were at the house, and my family was at the condo, so they were leaving to go to the restaurant, and we were leaving. So we were kind of waiting for the storm to pass so that we could take the roads that we needed to get to the restaurant, because we had a reservation. So we get to the restaurant, and the first thing we noticed was the tree, a large palm tree in the front of the restaurant, was snapped in half, and it was completely snapped over.
Like fallen forward.
Fallen over,
yeah.
Yep. And I'm like, okay.
Wow.
So we go up the ramp to the door where the outdoor seating is, and all the tables and chairs were overturned. And we're like, oh, wow. And the outdoor bar was shuttered. And we're like, oh, boy, this must have been a mess a few minutes ago, right? Because we had gotten there literally right after the storm came through.
Yep.
And so we go in to inquire about the reservation, and you're hit with a wall of sound of people talking. There's loud music, and
not just talking, laughing, loud.
Oh yeah,
it was like
loud conversation.
The bar scene moved indoors.
It's like when you have a couple of people, it's quiet because you don't have to talk over anybody to hear the other person. But there were so many people in the restaurant, everybody was talking over everybody else. It was crazy. And so it was really loud. And so we put two and two together. Okay, well, all the People that had been drinking at the bar came in and was at the indoor bar, and they brought the band in from outside. And we didn't have the headphones because our truck was being serviced, and
You had taken them out.
And we didn't have them with us. And Bryce walked in there, and he's like, "Daddy, I cannot stay in here. I need to go outside. I said,
His
okay.
wording was, "I cannot survive in here."
Yeah, I cannot survive in here. And so I said, okay. And the lady was super sweet about it. She's like, well, we're going to seat you over in the back. All of our private rooms are booked, so I can't get you into a room. But she said, we're going to seat you over here. I said, okay, Bryce, well, can you just walk over here with me and let me know if that's going to be okay for you? And so he was really good about it. And he walked over there with me. And he's like, Daddy, no, I can't. This is too loud. I have to leave. So I said, okay. So we went outside, and we just ended up deciding that let them have dinner there. Yep. We'll find somewhere else. Yep. And it just, some of the times when we went out, it just seemed like there was going to be a crying baby there, or there was going to be something.
Well, that did happen when we went to the Mexican place, the three of us.
Yeah.
We walked in. We
go
over to our
after
booth.
Vacation.
Yeah, it was after vacation last week. And it was late. It was last Sunday night. And we go in, and we're already hungry.
Yeah.
It's almost 8 o'clock, which I don't eat that late.
I said, let's go to the place closer to our house. Right. That way we'll just eat and go home real quick instead of going across the other way to the other Mexican place that we usually eat at.
Yes. We walk in, and there was a child that was probably one, somewhere in that range.
Going, wah.
Oh, she was crying. Hey, baby. And I knew me, and you took Bryce to the bathroom.
I took him to the bathroom.
But the mom wanted to eat her meal, so she wasn't picking her up. So she just kept crying. And then
while we were in the bathroom, she picked her up out of the chair.
Yep.
She stopped crying.
Yep.
And I thought if I took Bryce to the bathroom, that would give the baby a chance to calm down and stop crying. And that's what happened. But I didn't know that Mom had picked her up out of her chair.
Yeah.
So
when we were at the Mexican restaurant.
We went to the Mexican place and that baby was there, and we came out of the bathroom, and Mommy had put her back into her high chair, and the baby did not like that. So what did the baby do?
Didn't she go to the bathroom?
No. The baby, remember we walked in, the baby was...
What was the baby doing when we walked in?
Crying.
Yeah,
exactly.
Crying.
So what did we do? Did we stay or did we leave?
We had to leave.
We had to leave.
We had to leave.
Yeah,
so.
that was it.
And then we went to our other Mexican place, and we found a new dish that we liked.
We did it. We always find the silver lining. Right? Yes, so, exactly.
Anyway. Bryce, is there something you want to tell us?
Oh, we got a surprise for you.
Oh.
Yeah?
Bryce has a surprise for you, listeners. Come here.
What's the surprise, Bryce?
Can you tell them, or are you trying to show them?
Right. Turn around the camera, Mommy.
There's no camera,
I don't have a camera, dude.
No, here. Turn around. Use that joystick button and keep it.
Bryce is using his favorite.
What app is this?
Turboprop flight simulator.
Yeah. It's a Golden PV-40.
That's
He's
beautiful.
learning the names of all the planes.
He got a golden plane. What kind is it, Bryce?
A PV-40.
Wow, and it's gold color, which you know Bryce loves all things gold. That's beautiful.
Thanks for showing us.
me. I love that.
You have to try to change the color pretty good to make it gold.
Well, I think you did a good job.
Bye.
Bye, honey.
At least he said bye this time.
He did. So he did good. Yeah, so those are kind of some of the highlights that's been happening. So we were talking about deep conversations that we've been having. So, I just feel like we've been talking about death and cremation versus burials and why people do that. Did that come up in school somewhere? How did that come on the radar? I mean, if it didn't, I don't know what prompted that conversation.
We talked about Grandma Roro. Grandma Roro came up at some point.
Okay.
And we talked about that. And I'm sure we've talked about my parents at some point. So
I figured it was probably something recent. So here's what
I think it was Grandma Roro.
He had this conversation with me, and you weren't there. I don't know if I shared this with you or not. But he said, Mommy, again, random, out of nowhere. Why is it less money to get cremated?
Yeah,
And
I told him that.
Right.
Yeah.
I figured. So I said, well, I don't know. It's just less money to do that because if you do a regular burial, you have to get a casket and you have to bury. And he goes, okay, well, when I die, I want to be buried in the hole. I said, okay. He goes, I want to be buried in the hole in the military cemetery because I want to fly planes for the United States Air Force.
Yeah, that's
I said, okay.
Pretty amazing.
And what did he say? I mean, these are the kind of
things he's
conversations that come out of him. Yeah,
I mean, most recently, he's decided that he wants to join the Air Force. And we met someone from the Air Force the other day at the doctor's office, as a matter of fact. And he's like, why does he wear those colors? I said, well, that's his uniform for the Air Force. And he says, oh. He says, well, when can I get one? And I said, well, when you're 16 or 18 or whenever it is that you can sign up.
Keep telling him 18.
For the Air Force.
He's going to hold us to it, please.
And he says, okay, he says, I don't need the uniform. I just want to fly planes. So it's funny. He's just really on this kick about, I think he's narrowed down which his favorite airplanes are because he was on the teeter between the Navy and the Air Force. Yeah, and also the Army has some, and the Marines, you know, they all have
explaining
helicopters
all the different
and things. But I think the more he's learning about the planes that he likes, that most of them are in the Air Force. Yeah.
So yeah, he's thinking a lot about flying. He's also thinking a lot about death. And he said to me after we went grocery shopping, he says, I need to get a credit card after you die. I said, so you can buy groceries? Yes. I said, well, don't worry. I'm not planning on dying anytime soon. And he says, oh, okay, good. I'm happy to know that. And I said, yeah, you don't need to be worrying about that. And he said, well, will you die before me? I don't know. I said, usually that's how that works. Oh, if I die first, will you be really sad? Yes, I would be. I don't want that to happen. But don't worry, me and Daddy, we've got plans you won't have to worry about. You can have a credit card and you'll have money and you'll be able to get food. So I don't want you to be worrying about that. Okay. And then probably my favorite question that he asked me randomly, he was staring at me and he says, Mommy, what are those parts above your hips? That was classic.
Yeah, that was classic.
Yep. So I gave him the explanation about breastises. Oh, I said, well, that's where you drank your milk when you were a baby. Oh, okay. And then he moved on. I didn't get any. And you know what? No more questions have come up about that since.
But he did last
night. I'm getting a lot more about.
Right, Mommy, did I come out of your leg when I was born? Where did I come out?
Yep. That one came out again. I said, I used to tell him my tummy. And I said, well, no, you came out from between my legs. What? Was your winky opened up? Yep. Did it hurt? Yep. And then God closed it back up. Wow. Okay. That's it.
Oh my goodness.
And this is, the best part about that was me and you were out on the couch because it's our 30 minutes to watch a show while he takes his salt bath, right?
Yeah.
Mommy, I need to ask you a question. All right. And I put it on mute.
Says, you need to
he
come
goes,
in
no,
here,
you need to
Mommy.
come here, open the doors so I can see your answer. I said, okay.
So I can see your answer.
Then I opened the door and he's like, Mommy, how did I come out of your leg? Then he went back there. And then he had also asked me if I had any other babies. And so I said, well, you did have a brother right before you. So I had to explain to him how Malachite died. Is that a rare thing? Yes, that's a rare thing. It's not likely to happen. But I told him, I said, well, God had to take Malachi out so that he could put you in. because you came in right after he left. So he's in heaven, and now he watches over us. And so, so
He's
that
also asking about
question
your
is
brother.
coming back up a few times.
He's asking about your brother,
He is
too.
asking about my brother. So my brother has myotonic dystrophy 1, which is it's a debilitating muscle disease, and he's getting weaker. And so my parents are now moving into my brother's house so that they'll be able to take care of him. And it's something we've been wanting for the past year since he was diagnosed, but God's timing.
He's
But
asking all kinds of questions about diseases, when you get them. How
do I
get
have the
them.
disease?
Yeah.
Do I have to worry? That kind of thing. Because I'm trying to prepare him that Uncle B-Dog is going to probably have to walk like Papa with the walker. And, eventually his muscles aren't going to work as well. And so, but Bryce likes deep conversations. You might be like, why are you telling this kid all that? No, this is what we're saying. The questions keep coming because he's just wanting to learn, and he's truly interested. And even we're getting ready to go on this trip, and we're going to do a lot of history on this trip because we're going to Jamestown, we're going to DC, we're going to Philly. And he's wanting to know what people used to do. Those are the questions that are coming up. And so we'll be able to teach him a lot. It's like his brain is primed and ready for this information. But
Yep.
I'm trying to see if I had any other funny things that I wanted to bring up.
He said some funny
but He
things.
has brought up some funny things.
I
Okay,
know
this
there's
last
more.
one I will share. I know there are more. This one was kind of funny because I will just say this. We live in the city of Port St. Lucie, Florida. It has grown tremendously. It has outgrown its infrastructure. It's pretty crazy, and there's many things that we do not like about Port St. Lucie now because it's just too many people in a
lot of traffic.
A lot of traffic, a lot of construction. Just it's a little too much. So we would like to get out of Port St. Lucie, you and I.
Yeah.
But
With
Bryce,
Bryce, of
with
course.
Bryce, of course. It's just he's not pressing to get out. So you ask him in a general question. I was here
it was
working that
school.
day, so I
Yep,
could
social
hear
studies.
social studies, and the guy was explaining. The teacher on there was explaining. All right, so I asked the students, "What do you like about the city where you live?" And they were all like, "Oh, it's boring and something." But
So
he's like, "Well, what do you
yeah.
like about it?" And the kids were saying, and he was giving examples. He said, "They like the park." And they like that they feel safe. And so there are good things about your city. So you said to Bryce,
I paused it.
Bryce, tell me, what do you like about Port St. Lucie? And I'm in the other room listening. And
Yeah.
he's like, I like the code. And you're like, you like the code? And he's
Yeah, I
like,
like the
yeah,
code.
And
I was going to let it go because sometimes you just don't understand what he's talking about. And I just move on to the next thing. And I was getting ready to move on. I'm like, okay, that'll come up some other time.
So I think I yelled out, he means the zip code. And then, because
he started to say it.
he started to say,
Yeah, he's like,
well,
three,
the address,
3, 4,
the 3, 4.
9.
And I knew that's what because you were still a little lost, and he comes out with it. And we're like,
Yeah.
yeah, so that's what Bryce loves best about Port St. Lucie is our zip code, 34953. And you started laughing. You're like, yeah, son, that is about the best thing about Port St. Lucie.
So that's my favorite thing, too. Is that's about it, the zip
Oh,
code.
my gosh. So that was pretty funny.
Listen, it was a really nice place to live here. And, for some people it still is. But I'm ready.
I know.
My anxiety level is...
It can't tolerate
It's high in
where
traffic.
we're at. I know. But anyway, so that's pretty funny. But on that note, I have been teaching Bryce about... I want him to say, I the Bible verse about, casting all your care on God, all your anxiety, give all your worries to God because he loves you. Right? So he's been repeating that, and that sorry, I'm getting choked up. Not because I'm crying, because I have issues. But, so I've been telling him also because he has all this negative self-talk about wanting to hurt himself.
Yeah.
So I've said to him, okay, I want you to say, I love myself. I want you to say, I love myself, because you do. Who loves you? Jesus loves you. Mommy loves you. Daddy loves you. So many people love you. You need to love yourself. So I've just been kind of putting that here and there. So when Paige and I were shopping with him the other day, he just randomly said, I am at peace. Oh, it was at the taco place. He goes, I am at peace and I love myself. I'm like, yes.
He
That's
said
it.
that on vacation. He says, Daddy, I like being on vacation because I'm at peace.
Yep. So he was at peace at Taco Tuesday too, which is great because we were back into regular routine.
Yeah.
And he can still feel that.
So that's good.
Yeah. And I do believe his anxiety has come down quite a bit. Still got a lot of issues we're working on, people. I mean,
yeah, for sure.
we tried to share the good, the bad, the ugly here.
They pop up, we slam them down.
Yeah, what are you going to do? I mean, that's what you keep doing. But he's doing great. He is definitely still struggling with writing. Mom and I went to lunch yesterday. I took her out early for Mother's Day because we're gone next weekend. And we were talking about how, he's loving all this aviation. And Mom's like, he would be such, I want him to be a pilot if that's what he wants to be. And I was saying, we're going to learn how to educate him and help him, play to his strengths. That's why it's important to do all this testing. And I said, writing is call it what it is. It's a learning disability for him. He is having a very difficult time learning how to write.
There's a disconnect between hand, his brain, and his eyes.
And remembering. Yeah, there's a serious issue there. He can read.
Yep.
He's been very much impressing me with his reading. I do too. And that's what Mom and I were saying. I think it's from the stroke. Yeah. So having said that, that's going to be a learning disability for him. She goes, well, everybody else can write everything else for him and he can just do his job. And I'm like, amen, sister. That's it. Because that's what it's going to be. Plenty of people can learn how to work around their workarounds.
Don't write anymore. There's talk to text.
They don't even teach cursive anymore. No. And, he's going to still be able to do a lot in this life, even if he can't really do the writing part. And if that's what we have to find alternatives for him because of his brain and the way that it rewired, then so be it. We can do that. If that's the worst of it, that day that we were in the hospital and they told us what had happened to him
and all the stuff that
and all the stuff that could happen, all I said is he going to live? Because we can deal with everything else. I just want to know, is he going to live? And she was like, I really believe he is going to live. I said, okay, then we can deal with the rest. And that's what we're dealing with. And we just said by age 10, we'll have a better idea of where he's at and where he needs to go. And 10 is coming up in October. And the picture's becoming more clear of what we need to do and how we need to do it. And I'm at peace and I love myself. So there we go. And I think we can wrap it up with that.
Peace out.
Peace out. Anything else you want to share today?
That's it. Peace out.
All right. Well, we're going to be away for a little while longer. We'll be back in a couple of weeks.
A couple more weeks.
I'm sure I will be posting stuff on social media with our travels. So if you want to kind of follow our trip, you can do that. For everyone who has donated to Bryce for this trip, we thank you for that. Because he had so many donations, it exceeded our goal of $2,000. And we got 3 more paintings to finish today. But we've been able to expand this from 3 days in Philly to a whole trip, to help him. And still donate right now $1,400 to the Autism Foundation, which is wonderful.
And they matched it, right?
Yeah.
So
it's
great.
Been wonderful.
Great. So anyway, thanks for hanging in there with us. I know we're not on every week, and some people like podcasts that are on every week, but we do the best we can, and we appreciate those listeners out there that stick with us, and hopefully we're helping you. So
hopefully.
Yep.
All right. Well, have a good day, and we'll chat again soon.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.